Hi, I'm Allie, and I will be doing the reassessment video for the multiplication of integers. So to start with, we're going to talk about the definition of multiplication, and this is having a bunch of groups, each having the same number of items in them, and then counting the total number of items. So we need to assume that you know your basic multiplication tables, but what we're going to multiply today is 2,379 times 1,204. So what does this mean? That means that we're going to be having 1,204 groups of the 2,379. So we can write it out right here, and then this will be the whole process that we'll go through, but I'll explain as we go. So what we need to do is we're writing out these 1,204 groups of the 2,379, but obviously I'm not going to write it every single time. So we'll just put some dots in between, and these will be our last four groups. So what we need to start with is so if I draw them up a little bit closer, you can see that there's 2,000 plus 300 plus 70 plus 9 in each of these, because we know that equals 2,379. So I have it drawn out the 4 times because we're going to multiply each of those numbers by 4, because that's what's starting in our singles place in this problem. So what we're going to do is we're going to regroup, and we're just going to go straight horizontally across because that makes it easiest. So we're going to start by taking 4 groups of 9. So we'll take these 4 groups, and we know that that equals 36. So that also means 6 singles and 3 rods. So we're going to put the 6 here, and then we'll carry the 3 over. So that we're going to do the same thing, and then we'll take the 4 times the 7 rods this time, and you can see that's equal to 70, and we'll take the 4 times the 70 here, or the 4 groups of 7, 7 rods if we want to say it that way, and we know that equals 28, but then we still have that 3 that we carried from the last section of the problem. So we have 28 plus 3, and that equals 31. So we're going to put that 1 in the rod's place, and then we'll carry the 3 up above here. So then we're going to do the same thing, and we're going to take 4 groups, we have the 4 still here, multiplying by singles, of 3, or of the 300, because we're taking 300 of the 2,379. So we take those 4 groups of 300, and we're going to multiply 4 times 3, and we get 12. But then we still have the 3 that we carried over from last time. So we have 3 plus 12 equals 15. So we'll put our 5 down below for the flats, and then we'll carry that 1 up right here for the next section. Then we're going to do the exact same thing, and we're going to be taking 4 groups of 2 because we have that 2,000 up above here, or right here. So we're taking those 4 groups of 2,000, and we get 8 plus that 1 that we carried over from before, so we have 9. And so that's 9 supercubes that we put right down here. So this whole section, the 9,516, is how much there are, what there is in these, just the 4 groups, because we're multiplying by those singles of 4. So then you continue that process, but what we need to do for the next step is we're going to place a 0 in the single spot because we actually just multiplied by those singles of the 4. So we already did that, and so we group those singles together, and we do the exact same thing, but with the rods, or the tens place. And for this one, you're going to multiply the 0 times 9, 0 times 7, 0 times 3, and 0 times 2. So we'll get the zeros in every time. And that will be how much are in 0 groups of 2,379. So you continue to do that same process. Each time you'll add a new 0 because we've now multiplied by the singles and the rods. And then you'll do the same thing with 2 times 9, 7, 3, and 2, making sure that you are carrying over each time if you need to. And then doing the same thing, placing zeros in the spots of the singles, the rods, and the flats for the last time. And then multiplying everything by 1, or 1,000, because we have 1,204 groups that we're multiplying by. So then after we do that, we know that we need to add up each of these groups. So we're going to take all of the singles, and we'll add those up, because we need to group each one with the same different parts. So we have 6 plus all the zeros, we'll get the 6, and we'll do the same thing grouping the rods, and then the flats, etc. So our final answer, when we add up all of those and do all of our carrying, is we're going to get 2,864,316.